Hello, and welcome to the Admittedly podcast. My name is Thomas Khalil. I'm the former director of MBA admissions and financial aid for my alma mater, the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. In this podcast, I don't promise easy answers or quick fixes, but I will use my decades of experience to help you achieve your education goals. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Admittedly podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Khalil, and today's question of the week has to do with something I talked about on social media that blew up, and I want to address it a little more deeply. It has to do with talking about family in your common application essays. In general, I advise students to not talk about their family in the Common App essay. Or the supplemental essays. And there was a lot of questions on that and a lot of pushback. And so I want to break that down a little bit further. Are there times in which talking about family can be effective and good? Of course. If, for example, you have to work to support your family, or if you are involved in a family business, let's say running a family grocery store, family dry cleaning business, family real estate business, for example, then certainly it's something that we can talk about. We want to remember not to keep the focus on the family or the business. This is about you, right? Or if, for example, part of your after-school responsibilities involve taking care of family members, having to pitch in and help, or taking care of multiple generations of family members. So these are all very important things if you're a caregiver to a parent or grandparent or sibling, for example. So these are all good examples, but what we want to be really careful of is that thousands and thousands and thousands of applicants will write essays about their family. And, I don't want this to sound in any way dismissive or callous in any regard, but a lot of these essays end up looking very much the same. That's not to trivialize in any way the applicant's experience or what they felt, but the essays become very similar. And as an admissions officer, after you've read hundreds or thousands of these, they start to blur together, and you really lose that sense of uniqueness for the candidate. So especially when we think about essays that ask about a hero or an idol, writing about your grandparents or your parents, there are very, very, very specific, very rare instances in which that could be effective. But really, we want to challenge you to think outside of your immediate environment. We want to challenge you to broaden your horizon, right? So if you've been out in the world, if you've been interacting with people, if you've been involved heavily in a sport or an activity, who are people you see that are inspiring, and why are they inspiring to you? Are they inspiring because of their ability, right? Are they somebody who is inspiring to you because they're using their visibility and renown or celebrity or position to advocate for those weaker or less fortunate than they are? Are they somebody who has been through a similar experience and who's taken a stand, and maybe you're trying to emulate that? So I really encourage you to think outside of family, right? We love our families, and there's so much to be proud of in our families. And certainly, as we look at the struggles and life story of our grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, there's a lot there. And we think about the love and the nurturing that they've poured into us, or even negative examples in some cases, right? I don't want to presume that everybody has this, has this Norman Rockwell childhood. So there are certainly negative examples, but I think that it becomes personal, a little too personal when we're writing an essay, and it's hard to separate, right, ourselves and the impact of the message from this complex family dynamic. So certainly all for family, but they may not be the best choice for you in an essay. Thank you for joining us today. Please take a moment to subscribe to the Admittedly podcast and download this episode. I welcome you to share your thoughts and questions with me. You can find us on social media at Admittedly Podcast. I look forward